Oh my god! Sorry. Yo, what's up, bro?
How are you doing? How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic, bro. I didn't realize I was gonna get mogged when I called you.
Hey.
Yeah, I just kind of thought that maybe I should have worn one of my fitted tees or something. But we're good. We're good. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. It's the play, the black tea, always.
Okay, so I was. It is a pleasure to meet you, especially now with this new AI man. I was just listening to Frank D. God's Spaces, and he was saying that the market, and this is true, the market is valuing docs devs at an extremely high premium. Not that the market is necessarily what we're going to talk about, but what I'm saying is when people invest in AI startups in general, when people use AI startups in general, they care about intangible things like where the fucking team is from, what their experience is, what they look like, how they speak. So it's really good to meet you. Why don't you just
You as
give
well.
everybody a background on who you are, how old are you? You look very young. So give us
Yeah,
give us the
yeah.
rundown. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 22, founder of the Hive. I actually started programming when I was about 14. So I spent 2 years building mobile apps. I had two on the App Store by the time I graduated from high school. The second one required some crypto rails, so I ended up as a Solidity dev for that project. I then spent time as a contractor doing DeFi, NFTs, gaming, you name it. And then eventually landed myself in a Coinbase hacker house in New York after my sophomore year at college. So I lived with a bunch of 35-year-old guys. I was like 19. But at the end of that one, they had a hackathon to
Wait,
build
where'd
a
you
Web3
go?
gaming.
Where'd you go to college?
But Vanderbilt. So I studied CS and math there. Had a
Wow.
great time. I met a lot of great people, put me in the position I'm in now. Um, but yeah, so I lived in this house in New York. This was around the time of NFT NYC, specifically focused on Web3 gaming. So I built a zero collateral NFT rental protocol at the time on top of a new standard, which would basically allowed people that owned gaming NFTs to make money and people that wanted to play games but couldn't buy the NFTs to rent them. And that ended up winning the Coinbase hackathon, and that was the first hackathon I did. I've done a lot since then.
So what
Um,
game was that for? Was that for Axie Infinity?
It was for any game. We focused on Decentraland at the time, so in order to build a billboard, you needed a piece of land, but the land was incredibly expensive. So if you wanted to play the game, have a day on the land, you could. If you own the land, you start making some revenue off of it.
So zero collateral, but do you pay some sort of like interest, or did you have to pay like how did that work?
Yeah, so basically the standard allowed the owner to delegate the user to another address without actually giving up ownership of that object. So the person who was the user couldn't transfer it, they couldn't burn it, but they just paid basically rent continuously on it.
Wow. And was that an NFT token standard, or you could use the existing ERC 721 and like
Yeah,
modify it or something?
it was an extension of 721. So all the properties of 721 with some additional rental capabilities, basically.
Nice,
Yeah, super
nice.
sweet. So that kind of pushed me into the crypto space. At the time, I then joined as a founder of the first yield aggregator on Aptos. I was in school at the time, learning a lot of things really fast. So picked up the Move language, what they developed. I was one of the first Move developers. Worked on that for about a year. I then did some time in Web3 gaming. I built a multiplayer online game, basically play as your NFTs. At the time, NFTs were worthless, so why not give people something to do with them? Um,
What
yeah,
was
worked
that?
on
What
that,
was
won
that
some more
called?
hackathons.
What was that game called?
The game was called Brawler. You could play it. I haven't modified it in a while, so it might not be up to your standards, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Were there a lot of Wolf
Um,
Game guys playing that back in the day? Do you remember?
I actually developed on top of Wolf Game, one of the first projects I did, but I don't think this was mostly Aptos community people.
What did you do on Wolf Game? I was a big Wolf Game person.
I made a fork of it, and I mean the project at the time didn't do too well. I wasn't the founder of it. I was just contracted out to build it. But I spent a lot of time going through the code. I recall they had like some hack where you could guarantee you always got a wolf. So I was on the team I was on making sure that wouldn't happen.
Hmm.
Um, some technicals there, but yeah, it was fun to look into. It was one of the first big Solidity projects I took on, but I've since kind of left that space.
Okay,
Gaming's
cool.
hard. Gaming's really hard. I mean, you got to make sure that every single piece of every single game works, and otherwise people just leave.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to other spaces, is not nearly as cutthroat. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were more, it seems like, crypto native than I would assume AI native, correct? I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Okay. Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I spent, so after this game, I spent a year and some change building a regular AI company, no crypto involved. Started out as a hackathon project with some of my roommates in college. We ended up winning a few, two of them from Microsoft, got a grant from Microsoft. And then, yeah, built it out for another year. So that's kind of where my AI background comes in. A lot of the insights I have for the Hive come from that project.
Wow. Okay. And that's what I'm really curious about because how did you get into making an AI on-chain frame or tool? How would you describe it?
Yeah, right now I'd call it a product, right? My main vision here is to be something that people actually use every day. There's a ton of infrastructure being built, and that's awesome. That's been the crypto narrative for a while. But I think what we really need is a intuitive interface that allows the next billion people to join in. And I think that that happens through natural language, which is if you go to the website, you'll see there's only one thing you can do. Obviously, it has a lot of framework behind it. But when you want to do something, you just say it. You don't have to click around. You don't have to go through dashboards. I think that's one of the big barriers right now. When somebody comes into crypto, they're like, I have 100,000 things I can do. I just want to do what's best for me, given whether my risk or what I want to make, whatever it is, right? So yeah, the idea is to try and do what ChatGPT did to Google for Web3 front ends. So anything you want to do on chain, you come to the Hive.
Okay, this is a pitch I've been seeing a lot from different devs I'm
Yep.
interviewing. A lot of projects are actually working on this. Curious,
Yep.
what is the best thing that you can do right now on Hive? And I want to know
Yeah.
what I want to know what your vision is for the future. Something that you haven't built out quite yet.
Right, right. So I think the most exciting thing about the Hive right now is the agent to agent communication. So one of the early insights I had as I was trying to build this, ChatGPT for crypto, I was adding more and more capabilities to the platform. You have your swap, you have your borrow, you have your lend, all of that. But as you add more tooling, the model starts to get confused. It can't generalize well across a large action space. So what I realized was that you have to kind of compartmentalize specific agents for given tasks. So maybe one that just monitors social sentiment and, whale watching, right? Or you have one that's specifically focused on borrow lend optimization. And once they start to communicate and they can be good at their specific task, you can create a system that's bigger than the sum of its parts. So right now, if you go into the Hive and you ask it, say, I want to look at the trending tokens and then get all the tweets for each of those tokens and tell me which one has the highest sentiment. Obviously, it could use some work, but you'll see the agents start to talk to one another. You'll see that sequentially we use different specialties to accomplish that bigger task.
So with something as simple as like asking for a list of tokens that are looking good, why does that take multiple agents?
So that's the first step. That's the first, once again, this is a simplified model right now, but once we get the trending token list, now we want to look at social media sentiment. Does it make sense to put social media sentiment and market watching in the same agent? My opinion is no.
Ah, okay. Okay. And then in the future, how do you think that people are going to be able to use these agents or these agents that you're building? Like what's like a query that in 6 months, let's say,
Yeah.
will that
So, I
will be a
mean,
popular one?
6 months is a pretty long horizon here, right?
Sure.
I think in 6 months, what I'm hoping to do is onboard real non-crypto users, right? You come in, you deposit with Apple Pay, and then you say, hey, I want to earn 10% on this 100 US dollars. And then that delegates out to a network of agents that find the right opportunities at that given time. In the
Wow.
shorter term, kind of my main developments are more on the automation side. So right now, you as the user have to go in and say, I want to do this, and it happens. I think in the near term, we can have agents that say, every 4 hours, I want you to send me a memo of each of the top 10 trending tokens. I want you to give me the top 10 tweets from maybe this list that I have of key influencers, and then tell me whether or not I should buy. And then you email that back and say, yeah, buy, number one, two, and three. I think that's very possible in the near term.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. So one of the things that I was talking to yesterday with Danielle, have you seen Danielle's thing, Hey Ann on AI?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
It's actually pretty similar to what you're saying, but he was talking about how different There's different ways to do it, right? You could do a Claude type of way, which is the AI is actually like operating like a desktop, right? But then there's another
Hmm.
way, which is you could like refine the pathways and make it very specific. So is that more so what you're building, or is it more like will it be able to? You're talking about onboarding normies. Would I be able to like give it my fucking Coinbase login and it'd be able to like send the sex funds on chain, do that? Like, are we there?
Yeah, yeah, I've got that integration set up already.
Okay.
You go in, you give your Google account, you log into your Coinbase, and then you can deposit in. I find it interesting that he brings up the Claude computer use example. I think the interesting thing about Web3 is that these smart contracts don't require permission or a front end to be invoked. As long as we can build, some agent that can talk to, say, all of the Orca protocol functions, then we don't actually have to navigate to their interface. We can just call those functions directly. And I think another interesting and where I'm really trying to go with the project is to find where an LLM that's capable of reasoning can do tasks that a deterministic bot can't. I think where that really comes to fruition is you don't have to write the deterministic path to say like, okay, if you want to do RLN's optimization, you have to go here, A, B, C, D, E. You can just say this agent knows, about all of the other five pools, and then that agent can ask each of the five pools, what's your yield? And then, you can rebalance like that. So I think that we're getting to a point where you don't even have to know what the user wants. You can just kind of build out this network, this graph, and then see where it goes from there.
Wow. Wow. So you think that once you describe, let's say, dozens or I don't know how many, dozens of these functions and pathways with different apps that are on chain, that the AI will be able to like figure out profitable strategies on its own? Is that kind of like
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that's a new property that we have now in the last, few months that you couldn't do with a regular bot, with a regular yield aggregator.
why
I'm
not?
super excited about it.
Why couldn't you do it
Uh,
before?
I mean, you could do it with LLMs, but there wasn't much press around it, right? So it was possible to use, GPT-3 to do this, but these leading AI companies are optimizing for reasoning tasks. They've pretty much solved all of the easy summarization tasks, but now they're going into the high-level math and high-level tasks that require you to plan. And so if we can ride that tailwind of all these companies trying to optimize for complicated reasoning tasks, then we can obviously apply that into crypto very easily.
And when you say ride the tailwind, is it because you're using the GPT, you're using OpenAI for your models basically?
Yeah, I mean, you could use any model on our platform,
Yeah.
but all these companies are in a rat race to make the smartest model, right? And that's a good thing for all of us. I mean, except for
Exactly.
the companies that lose, but
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah,
what I do find weird is that all the like different. I mean, there's a lot of people building similar things to Hive, um, and you guys are all using OpenAI's GPT. So it's like, how different are these all just going to be the same product with different front ends, or what's actually going on?
I think that the actual model selection is not super important. All the models are pretty much on par. There are
Yeah.
really
Okay.
complicated math problems that maybe only OpenAI can solve that Claude can't, or the other way around. But when we're talking about, these Web3 agents, it's more about the integrations that you have and the pathways that you build. And obviously, then the interface has to be nice. So that's another place where you can improve. And then the other is going to be who has the most data. Like if you come to my website right now and you ask it to do something that it can't do, it tells me that, and I'm going to build it. So as the more and more people that use a product, they're going to basically tell the developer what they want indirectly, which I think is quite interesting.
People want to use the product or to tell them because when they try to,
Yeah, like let's say you go on there right now and you're like, "Can you build me a copy trading bot for this address?" And it says, "I'm sorry, I can't do that."
mm-hmm.
You'll tell me that, and
Yeah.
now I'm going to start building a copy trading bot.
Ah.
So, like I said, the integrations are going to become much more important. I think once all these different platforms have automated agents, that'll be pretty sticky as well. Who can do the best automations? What are the how much do those cost? You're not going to go and switch to another if you have something running for 7 days. If it's accumulating yield, you can't pull it out. Same with like liquidity pools, right? Where's the moat there? They all offer the same thing. It's just who can offer the best yield. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's a lot of fun.
Sure. Sure. This is okay. So I do find it I do predict that a lot of the people that are asking you, a lot of the queries are going to be primarily like money making stuff, like can you build me a copy trading bot, can you analyze these whale wallets, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what's going to be important is the way that, I mean, if your AI is better at building a copy trader bot, right? If it's more efficient on the sniping side of things, if I want to build a sniper bot and you can actually snipe things faster than Nova or faster than fucking Bloom or whatever, right? So like, are you actually? I know you're probably working on the LLM side of things, but are you actually working on making like some of the best on chain copy trading bots, sniping bots? Like, how do you like how do you weigh like
Yeah.
priorities there? Because people listen in the end. When people want a copy trading bot, let's say sniping bot, right? When people want a sniping bot, they want the fastest sniping bot, or they want like the best one. And so, do you feel like you have to build that as well as like the LLM framework for it and shit?
So the way I look at this, and what I'm most excited about trying to build kind of an aggregation system, is that there are teams that are going to build the best copy trading bot. There are going to be teams that build the best yield optimizing bot. And if we can all, in the nature of Web3, collaborate and basically use the Hive as the entry point into all of these different products that people are building, there's not going to be one person that builds the best of everything. That just never happens. But if we can all start to, communicate, and that's part of the partnership with the Cerebro team, is if we can establish a standard for invoking other agents, then it's not one developer's job to build the best of everything. Now, of course, we're going to optimize what we think is most important, and I'll get into that and I'll tweet about it. I can't share that yet because obviously that's close to my heart. But I do think there's going to be the opportunity to communicate with other bots. Give let's say some team makes a really good yield optimizing bot. I give them a cut of the fees. I'll route to them, and that's a mutually beneficial relationship. So I think that's the next step, at least for me, is once I build out my core functionality, are there teams that have really good copy trading bots that I can then bring them users, and then obviously users on my end as well. I think it's a win-win.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. So, what's an example of the? Actually, that's a huge win-win because then you don't have to fucking build the whole thing yourself.
Yeah,
But yeah, so then it's probably a lot of BD that you're going to be doing. I guess that's what CEOs are typically do.
yeah.
But
I mean, I think crypto is unique in that like all of the BD is also very engineering focused. I mean, there are some cases
got it.
where it's not, but you know, it's much faster to just build an integration than it is to have a sit down meeting and be like, okay, like what is the business relationship, all this stuff. I think that people are very open in this space to collaborating on an engineering front, and then the business follows.
So can you describe the partnership with Zerebro and what's going to happen
Yeah,
there? Do you know? Did you know
yeah,
Jeffy
totally.
before Zerebro? Or did you meet him recently?
No, so I met them on Sunday.
Cool.
I think they found me through the hackathon page, got connected up. We had a great call, a great team, very talented engineers over there.
Hmm.
And I think what I like most about the Zeri framework, which they're building behind this Zerebro agent, is that it's incredibly lightweight. There are other agent frameworks that are very heavy, which is good. Like those solve a given task. But in our, like me personally, I believe in a more lightweight framework, so it allows you to be more flexible. So from my end, I'm building out all this DeFi capability that they're not focused on. So I'll give them my DeFi capabilities, and then they in return are building out a very killer agent framework that then the Hive can talk to any ZeriPi agent. I look at it similar to the ERC20 standard. So if you are an ERC20 token, you can be on any DEX, right? You don't have to know about the implementation of it. Similarly, like I said before, if somebody builds a killer yield optimizing agent and they build it on ZeriPi, it'll automatically integrate into the Hive because we
Whoa.
establish a standard of communication, and then we can, route to any of these agents without actually having to know exactly what they do, how they're implemented, or hosted on our end.
Whoa. 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 Okay. 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 Wait. So I might have misunderstood what ZeroPi is. You can build yield optimizing agents doing actions on chain on ZeroPi?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of what you add in there. Like an agent is an agent, it's a LLM that can call tools, it can run
Okay.
code.
Okay.
So
So
yeah,
theoretically, you have access to every. So let's say that agent has a name. Then, if you are communicating with that agent from Hive, I can like be like, can you use this agent to do this for me?
sure. I mean, it would be a
Mm.
little bit more direct than that. Like, let's say I want to add somebody makes a great Zeri agent for copy trading. Stay with the same example.
Yeah.
I would have to know that that agent is good at copy trading. So I'd ask, like, what is your specialty? And then it tells me that. And then I say, okay, now, I'm going to route my copy trading needs to this agent. I think it could be fairly intuitive, but it's a very flexible model that will allow a rapid onboarding of newer and newer agents into the ecosystem.
Wow. Okay. So are Hive users gonna have to know like the names of different agents? Like, what would it default to if you're just a new user?
Yeah. So the one of the big principles behind the Hive is to be incredibly simple. You'll see it when you go to the interface. There's one thing you can do. I
Yeah.
don't want to have anything more complicated. So as long as on our back end we know of all of the best agents, we're going to obviously limit our scope. We can't let any agent talk to the Hive. You know what people are going to do with that. Um, but as long as we have a description for every agent that is out in the action space, and we give it the orchestrator all of this information, any query that the user makes, then all it essentially has to do is find the best agent for that task. And maybe that agent that it goes to, one of its tools is to talk to another agent. So you can imagine that this kind of percolates out, and you can build out a network that's bigger than the sum of its parts.
Wow. Okay. Fuck, I had so many questions like building up in my head and then I just forget them. But
Yeah, no worries.
yeah. So, oh, okay. Here's my question: Is Zerapie? What if they integrate with other things similar to Hive, other competitors to Hive? Or are you getting like exclusive deals? Like, how is this working out?
No, no, I mean, no exclusive deals. I think it's once again a win-win.
Yeah.
Like, as if we can all fall into the same standard, then it makes the ecosystem better as a whole.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so are you going to be able to use you're going to use the Zerapie, and then are you also going to integrate Eliza?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely
Got it.
possible,
Well,
right?
that's
As
not
long as
one,
I know.
but that's not one
Yeah,
standard then. You're integrating multiple standards at that point, aren't you?
sure.
Okay.
I think, I mean, these agent frameworks seem to be optimizing for different things. In the same way that you have different token standards, right? I mean, obviously NFTs and fungible tokens are very different, but you have a 721 standard, you have a ERC20 standard, then there's like 1155, which did both at once, and it's like, which one should I use? But those all did different things. They were good at different things. Is it possible for us to all agree on the same standard? I don't think that's ever really happened in the crypto world.
Valid. Okay, and one of the biggest things you talk about as from Hive is DeFi,
Right.
DeFi AI, if you will. So you talk about copy trading, about that's not DeFi AI. So where are you mostly focusing? Is it the yield farming, yield optimization with AI? Like what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a background having built a yield aggregator, and so that's kind of where I'm most comfortable. What I'm interested in, let me see if I can describe this.
How different is Hive from the yield aggregator that you already built? How much is AI actually adding to these things that already kind
That's
of
a
existed?
really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a question that like you should ask every single project that says they're an AI project. Like, could you have done this without an LLM? Is a very, very important question, right? So when I was building the yield aggregator, when you want to build a new strategy for a vault, right? You have to know all of the protocols you're going to hit. You have to write that code, you have to deploy it, and then you have to tell the vault about it. With this, reasoning agentic system, you really just need to give each of the agents specialized tasks, and then they can build out the strategy that they want without me as the developer writing the steps for that to happen. So, let's say I want to build a vault for Sol, right? Previously I'd have to write like a leverage liquid staking strategy, and I'd have to write a borrow lend optimization strategy. But now leverage liquid staking, which requires like at a minimum two protocols to perform, you have your borrowing, you have your staking, and then as long as they know about each other, and in order to do leverage liquid staking, they can talk to each other. That works. How do you add a new liquid staking provider? Just another agent, and you don't have to write that code out yourself. I find that to be the most exciting part about this Defi AI thing, at least in my opinion.
So, but how is the vault ending up different? How is the vault that you personally program different from the vault that the AI is like optimizing on its own?
The way I look at it is that there is no vault. Like you just have your own personalized network of agents that perform your tasks. You keep the funds in your custody, you deploy them directly into the protocols,
Uh,
you get them in and out. Um, there isn't actually a need to build out strategies on chain as long as you can reason about the exact same end state with your AI system.
Okay. Well, my thinking is, right, you're using Zeri, you're going to use Eliza, you're going to use all these frameworks. There's a finite amount of frameworks that you can use. And then there's another product called Graphane where they're kind of talking about similar things. So it's like, are these products going to be really similar and the only real separation is the guy in front, like you, or the marketing of it, or the community behind it? Like, is that going to be the primary way that you differentiate yourself in this market? Because it's a competitive market now.
It is, yeah. It's really exciting, and competition makes for better products, right? I think that's a good thing.
True.
Um, yeah, so as I said before, I think the data you in the AI space generally, the more data you have, the better your system is going to be. Like the moat around AI systems is a lot of times data. So the more intents you can collect from your users, the better you're going to be able to serve their needs. Um, I think, yeah, marketing is important. I think ease of use is going to be incredibly important. If you have to kind of know where, navigate a front end still, I still don't think that that's really a UX improvement beyond what we already have. But yeah, I think, you know, people are going to have unique agents. People are going to, who gives revenue share to the agent creators is going to be big. That's, you're going to build out an ecosystem that way. I think there are a lot of, room for competition here. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can ask the same question of like, what's the difference between two different liquidity pools or DEXs, right? Um, where's
Exactly.
the money at?
You
Yeah,
can ask
yeah,
the same of everything. You can ask the same. What's the difference between these two L1s? How is Sui better? Why is Solana better than Sui? It's just the people that use it, right? They have a liquidity mode, or
I
or
think,
even
but yeah,
or even go to Sam Altman and say, why is OpenAI better than Gemini? In
right,
the end, they're,
yeah,
or Grok. The AI, it's like the competition. They're basically all doing the same shit. There's nothing. I could ask someone a question and quiz people. Is this OpenAI, Gemini, this, that, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference
no,
realistically.
you wouldn't, yeah,
So in crypto and in a competitive market where all my followers, me, we're all trading these fucking coins, it's becoming hard. It's becoming hard to even pick which projects are even good. Do you have any like thoughts on that? Like, how are you planning on making Hive have more users than other ones? Like, what's like a strategy there from a founder perspective?
yeah. No, I think just traditional startup advice I've gotten is to kill one thing really early, right? You can't do everything all at once. So I think, like you said, the trading community seems to be the early adopters of this. So
Yeah,
can you build one specific functionality for the trading community that they absolutely can't live without?
yeah.
And once you go from there, you build another functionality for them and another one. And then you go into DeFi. So I think it's important to get that one use case right from the start and then build off from there. If you try and do everything at once, you're just going to be bad at
Oh
everything.
yeah. I mean,
I'm keeping that one close to my heart.
yeah. You've got to be talking to all the best trading bots right now, sniping bots, right? Like, got probably a lot of pressure to get on that. I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, it seems like the people who are trading are the ones who are most keen on adding new tools because if it can make you more money, you're going to use it and pay for it.
Yeah. So here's some alpha for you. I'm giving you this game because I like you. This is a real game.
Yeah, hit
The
me.
Telegram bots that like manage your Telegram trading group. That is
Mm,
something that is hugely important. So, for example, I'm not going to say which group, but there's a group in the trenches right now, and they have this bot that they custom built, not with an LLM, but it's a custom bot where basically everybody has their wallets in it, and you call the command with a contract address, and it just tells you everybody's wallet, what they aped, what they bought at, and if they're still in it, stuff like that, right? In your private group. So in this group right here, where we're all trading shitcoins all day, scanning chats, there's like 96 members in it, and we have Magetsu, and we have this different bot and Rick bot and all this stuff. I don't know what the optimal thing for you that you could build is, but some kind of bot that like aggregates Magetsu and all this shit. If I could just do slash da 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 and then just describe what I'm looking for about a coin, whether it's a bundle check, whether it's a Twitter check, stuff like that, that would be fucking sick. I'm just saying. And I
all
just
right.
thought of that right now. I just thought of that right
Awesome.
now, but because dude, there's all these different commands, and I always forget. I'm like /x this, and I'm like fuck, it's /scam, and then it's there's all these commands. So it's like if I could just describe what I want, that'd
Yeah.
be excellent.
I think that's the big innovation here. I think that's got everyone excited is, you're not navigating interfaces anymore. I'm going to go back to the same Google example, right? Like I was just in school when you wanted an answer to your homework, you go onto Google, you look it up, and you might get 10 different websites. You go to ChatGPT, you say exactly what you need. Maybe you're confused about half of it. You don't even have to like search through pages anymore. You don't got to click anymore. You just ask for what you want and you get it. And you can imagine that to be true of crypto now too. You don't got to know your commands. You don't got to know what protocols you're using. You just say what you want and it happens. I think that's super exciting to me.
But nobody has built it yet, and you would expect that the telegrams would have these tools already, or at least there'd be some LARPs. But I feel like nobody's actually building this shit. I look forward to seeing if you do it because
Yeah,
that'd be fucking
I'm
sick.
on it, man. Count on me.
Yeah.
Let you know when it's done.
So what's your team like? How big is a team?
It's me. It's me.
Wow.
Yeah,
See?
I mean, I got started. I got started for the Solana hackathon, as I said, a big hackathon guy. Love going through those, build things really fast. Looking to expand now, talking to some people, looking for some engineering support. The community's been great on the marketing front. Really appreciative there, a lot of help. But yeah, I mean, I'm heads down building all day. That's all
Yeah.
I do.
I think small teams are always like going to be bullish
Yeah, you
for
can move much faster.
yeah, exactly.
You don't got to onboard people. There's no disagreements. You just build. Nothing
Nice.
like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, Chat, let me know if you have any questions. I also want to ask you about the token because it seemed like you weren't going to launch a token at first, right? Or you weren't going to support a token at first?
Yeah. I'm not at liberty to share about the token right now.
Yeah.
But when I am, I'll let you guys know. The token is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. People were really like, you didn't even announce if there was going to be a coin. And people were making their own pump funds, pretending to be you, pretending to be Hive.
Yeah.
What was that like, dude? That must have been really crazy and annoying.
Crazy. Yeah. No, people pulled one of my wallet addresses off of like a transaction hash from my demo video, and then used that
Yes.
as I was like, bro, come
Oh
on, you don't got
fuck.
to be doing all of this.
I'm not gonna lie.
Uh,
I think that was my first DM to you.
really?
Was asking
Yeah.
if that
No.
was you. Yeah.
Funny enough, that wallet address was actually the wallet address of my first autonomous agent. That wasn't even mine. And I looked at it, and somebody was like, "Yo, did you deploy a coin?" And I was like, "I honestly, the agent could have, and that would have been a great story."
Wow.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But I was experimenting with adding in pump fund capabilities into the agent, and I thought for a second that it might have just on its own decided to deploy its own token, but yeah, it's a
Nice.
good story. It didn't actually happen.
Nice. Well, I think it's really cool that you decided to. I don't know what you would call it, but it's some kind of like support of the coin, the token. Where do you think crypto helps? Like, where do you think having a token helps your project build in general? Why do you think so many of these AI startups are like having coins associated with them? It's a little bit weird, right? Because a lot of them aren't like promising utility or anything. So like, why do you even think that it's a thing at all?
I mean, it's an excellent marketing lever right off the rip. Like people are just tweeting about your coin, and then people look at your product and they try it out. Like, I think I just looked just before this call. We've got now 8,500 users that have submitted like 60,000 chats. Like that would
Whoa,
not have happened without a coin. Crazy, right?
whoa.
Um, so that's part of it. It's a community builder. That's excellent. I everybody, I can't get into the details yet. I'm not there. I'm not
Oh,
allowed
yeah,
to.
it's all good.
Um, but you can always add, but you can never subtract.
You can always add, but you can never subtract. I don't know what that means.
I'll let you think about it.
Chat, can you help me out on this?
Yeah,
Okay. Honestly, it's cool to keep the interview short and sweet. And honestly, like as you build more shit out, build more Telegram bots, like send me the link. I'll try them out. Like I think it's super
got you
sick. So
for sure.
yeah, these products are so new, so it's like really there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. But I think it's really cool. Is there anything you want to say? Chat? Anything you want to ask me about? They're asking what
Let
your
me, let me hear it.
accent is. I don't think you have an accent.
No, no, I'm from the U.S.
Are you a West Coast guy? You seem like you're from like Oregon.
I move around a lot.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
He
I grew
said
up in Boston.
someone said you have a Fortnite accent.
Nah,
I
nah,
don't, dude. The way he's deving, I don't think there's much Fortnite going on. To be honest, it's
no,
more
no way.
it's like you're probably building maps and servers and shit. You
I
ever
spent a lot of time in games. It's really cool.
have you ever built a Minecraft server or a Fortnite like map?
No, no,
Uh,
no. I like building it from scratch.
nice.
You get more control that way,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you answered basically every question I had, so it's like I feel like I,
Sick.
yeah, super sick.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. Happy to do this whenever. Keep y'all updated. Trying to post product updates every day. Make sure y'all know I'm still cooking. Can look at the GitHub. You see me late at night, early in the morning, all day. You can imagine I'm working as fast as I can. I'm gonna get you guys what you guys want.
Amazing, amazing. Pleasure meeting you, man.
You as well.